On this episode of How to Do Florida, it's a heavyweight battle as Chad pulls in a Goliath Grouper for a colossal catch and release conservation program on Florida's Gulf Coast.
It's a little bit like hooking a Volkswagen.
Oh, man. Then Chef Justin Timoneri brings you his belly-warming recipe for Florida-style clam chowder.
What makes it Florida-style is not just these wonderful Cedar Key, Florida clams, but we're gonna add all kinds of wonderful Florida commodities as well.
And later, Chad dives into the turquoise waters of Key Largo to do a little coral farming. We'll show you how to do coral reef restoration.
We're going out to the coral farm to learn how to grow coral.
It's time to do Florida.
Hey, today on the show, we're gonna show you how to go Goliath Grouper fishing.
The Goliath Grouper, Leviathan of the deep, a colossal creature whose dimensions dwarf everything in its habitat. They've been known to grow 8 feet long and weigh over 1,000 pounds. Once fished almost to extinction, these giant creatures are once again the undisputed kings of the Florida reefs.
Thanks to conservation efforts, the Goliath Grouper is making a comeback. And nowhere is that more prevalent than the waters off Southwest Florida.
Still listed as critically endangered, Goliath Grouper are on the rebound since coming under federal protection in the 1990s. Today, we're headed to the Gulf Coast, 30 miles south of Sarasota, to the small town of Inglewood, to meet up with Captain Tom McLaughlin of Another Keeper Charters. Captain Tom is an expert on fishing for Goliaths.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I am ready.
You know,
What are you doing here? What is this?
it's isn't fishing like you think it is.
What do you mean? You don't think I'm ready?
I think we might need to beef you up a little
I'm
bit.
gonna feel up tight. It gets nice and tight up top right there. Feel right there?
Yeah, I think we're gonna need to work on that.
I knew it. I'll be right back.
Okay, I get the hint. Step 1, time to bulk up.
Spot. Right there. The tiger right there. Hear that? I think that's something caught my eye. Let me introduce you to Goliath and Grouper. Ow. Adrian!
Okay, I guess I'm ready to go toe-to-toe with one of sport fishing's heavyweights as we head out to Tom's favorite Goliath Grouper spot, which is a wreck about 10 miles off the coast. He fills me in on this incredible species.
So we're gonna be able to bring these fish on board, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they're protected in Florida and federally. You can't take them out of the water, but we're participating in a research program, so we bring them in, gather some data, and send that off to the scientists. Basically, Southwest Florida has the highest concentration. Their juvenile habitat is mainly the 10,000 Islands area.
Okay.
So anywhere on the Southwest coast, you're gonna have adults close by. So this is this is ground zero Goliath Grouper territory here.
So we're in the hole.
We're there, that's it. They regularly eat 30 and 40 pound fish. Every fish that we catch here, we've had them eat, including sharks. They are extremely fast, they're agile, they just don't have a lot of gas in the tank. It's like a dragster.
Right.
So they're not big, slow, and dumb, that's for sure. That's
What
a
is
good
that
way.
like when that fish just first is on there and it's just pulling you?
It's a little bit like hooking a Volkswagen.
Oh, man.
We finally arrive at the wreck, but as we approach, we find someone is fishing right where Captain Tom wants to be. Fishing for Goliaths is done straight down, so boat positioning is key.
So there's a lot of jockeying for position here. You have one guy who's on the spot, and you have other boats kind of circling, waiting for him to move to pounce on his spot. It's like a mall parking lot during the holidays.
Okay, it's time for step 2, gear up. There's some pretty intense gear involved in this kind of fishing.
400-pound main line,
Yep, no leader.
no leader, because you don't need a leader at 400 pounds, right?
Yep, that's
Good
pretty
gosh.
much your leader and your line.
You're basically fishing with your leader. And what aught hook?
That's a 20
20-aught hook, and then a pound of lead.
pound of lead to get the bait down on the bottom.
Pound of lead. Wow. This is how you test a drag when you're fishing for Goliath Grouper. You pull on it as hard as you can. And if it moves, it's too loose. All right, set. I'm struggling just to put the slightest bow in this rod, and you're telling me this thing is gonna bend
All the way.
like that.
All the way over.
Oh,
The
man.
tip is gonna point towards the water.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to that or what.
Our spot finally opens up. Time to move into position. Captain Tom goes over one final safety tip, just in case I want to stay in the boat.
Now, where will you be?
I'll be behind the chair, keeping
Show me.
you.
Show me what I want to know exactly.
I'm going to be
where you're
back
gonna
here, holding the chair down and
Okay.
leaning as hard as I can to keep you from becoming the human catapult.
So if you walk away, the human catapult thing happens.
Don't catch a fish while I'm eating my sandwich. And if you don't bring the rod back, you don't ride home.
Okay, so I've bulked up, geared up. It is time for step 3, hook up. Unfortunately, not much luck at our first drop.
So we're moving spots. Getting closer to the wreck. Still trying to find that perfect position. Ready for a drop?
Let's do it.
Drop number 2. Grouper, come on, Goliath Grouper. Come on, bite my hook.
Go, 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 go.
Finally, it was fish on.
Reel when you can. You got it.
I got something.
I knew that workout plan would work.
This fish is actually bending this broomstick of a rod.
Pull on him. Keep going.
I can feel the fish fighting like mad, trying to power its way back to the wreck. If he can make it that far, it'll cut me off for sure.
There's that bent rod we were talking about.
Oh my gosh.
What a gorgeous fish, a juvenile, so only about 100 pounds, but what a fighter. And closer inspection shows this fish has won quite a few bouts.
So you can see all these hooks and line in here. We're gonna do him a favor and clean those out while he's in here. Yep.
We haul the Goliath Grouper on board. Again, this is illegal unless you have a research permit like Captain Tom does. A water hose inserted into the fish's mouth keeps oxygen flowing to the fish while we go to work.
What I'm doing is I'm made a little incision and inserted this tool. The air inside their belly expands on the way up. This just lets the air out so that she can start breathing again. No worse for the wear.
I work on getting the tackle out of the fish's mouth, while Captain Tom tags the fish for identification purposes.
As soon as they get on their belly, they're gonna start getting active.
I've never released a fish like this, but because the water hose provided oxygen, this fish was kicking and ready to be thrown back in the water.
1, 2, 3.
Nice job. That's the way to do it.
Here in Florida, we're all about recreation and conservation. And today was the best of both worlds. What an adrenaline rush to do battle with such a beast. You know, I've seen Goliath Grouper in the water while diving, but to be this close to one, to be a small part of helping preserve this magnificent species, is another great way to do Florida.
Still to come, Chad's learning how to do coral reef restoration on Florida's exquisite but threatened reef systems.
We're going out to the coral farm to learn how to grow coral.
But first, Chef Justin's got a pot on the stove of his famous Florida-style clam chowder.
It came out even better than I thought.
Oh, wow. That is so good, Joe.
You're watching How to Do Florida. We'll be right back.
Hey, coming up on the show, Chef Justin goes clam chowder on us.
Florida style, you don't want to miss this.
So, Chef, Florida clam chowder. Did you make this up on the way here? Like, what are you trying to do here?
I just 2 minutes ago I made it
minutes
up.
ago?
That's right. There's really 2 main styles of clam chowder. There's New England, the creamy version, and Manhattan, the tomato-based version. But we've done is we've made a Florida version. So what makes it Florida style is not just these wonderful Cedar Key Florida clams, but we're gonna add all kinds of wonderful Florida commodities as well.
How do we do it?
All right, let's get started. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is render some bacon. If you would, sir.
Render bacon.
Into the pan. There he goes.
Bacon
I'll
ball.
take that. Let's try one of these, shall we? I want to see you do it.
Nice.
Come on.
It's a little early for a pan snap. Right now?
Right. Well, you might as well practice.
Snap.
Yeah.
Snap.
Whoa, whoa.
Snap.
There you go.
Time.
Only took 4 seasons, folks.
Hey, you got a pan snap.
All right, this is looking good. Okay, next we're going to start adding our aromatics. Onion
Onion.
in the bowl. Beautiful. Work that around.
Very arrow, very
Garlic
aromatic.
going in. All right, so we want those flavors to get together. Now we can go add our Florida corn. I just took these off of 2 cobs.
Okay.
In it goes.
This is 2 cobs worth.
2 cobs worth.
Feels like a cob and a half, but you're saying it's 2.
That was 2.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and lightly add a little bit of seasoning. I've got some of my favorite seafood seasoning here. Just a nice little pinch, because we always do what, Chad?
We always pre-season.
Pre-season. A little bit of pepper.
Yep.
And again, I'm gonna wait to add the salt to the end after I taste it, because the bacon is salty and we don't want to oversalt our dish. Celery. Keep stirring. All right, yellow peppers going in.
So you need to have everything ready to go when you start this dish.
Ready to rock, that's
It's
right.
not grab clams, start cooking, and then start
Nope.
looking to the refrigerator to see what you've got.
That's right.
Okay, that's kind of...
Green peppers going in.
Can I give it a pan snap?
Yeah, this is a great time for pan snapping. I'm standing
A little bit of
back.
space here. A little bit of space. Snap!
Whoa!
Ah!
We need to clean up
The height
aisle
on that
3.
was a 2-footer. So what's left to put in there, Chef?
All right, so now that all our main dry ingredients are in there, now we can start adding some of our wet ingredients,
Okay.
which is, I have a little bit of vegetable stock here, or seafood stock. You can use either one.
Or cedar key juice.
Cedar key juice. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of heavy cream as well. Borrow your spatula.
Now that's the New England part.
All right, so this cream is going in. All right, so now that we've got our simmer going, it's time to add our potatoes. And Chad, you can notice these wonderful colors I have in here.
They're gonna soak up all that juice, all
That's
that
right, and
goodness.
flavor. And now it's time to go ahead and add the clams.
Look at that, man. That's a gorgeous picture right there.
All right.
Now, how do you know when they're done, Chef?
Well, naturally, they will let you know when they're done because they will open up and reveal themselves to you. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with my fresh herbs. I've got a little thyme here. And then last but not least, I'm just gonna put a little lemon juice in there for a little acidity.
Seed grabber.
Seedless. All right, Chad, it's looking good. Most all of our clams are open now. I think it's time to plate it up. You ready?
I am ready.
Here's our bowl. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start ladling this in.
Oh. So something I didn't realize, Chef, the clams are going in the bowl. For some reason I thought
Absolutely.
that the clams would stay there or the meat would pop out. But,
No, this part's part of the fun is getting the meat out of the clams. And
that's, man, what a gorgeous presentation too, them being in the bowl like that.
it really is. Look at all that wonderful color between the potatoes and the peppers. And then just a little bit of scallions on top.
Okay.
Choose your weapon here. I got one for you. All right. Yum.
Oh yeah, that meat just comes right out of there, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get one of these croutons that have been soaking up all that juice.
There you go. Man,
Oh wow, that is so good, Chef.
it was really good. For this recipe and many more wonderful recipes like it, go to howtodoflorida.com.
Oh yeah, Chef.
Coming up next, Chad's joining forces with the Coral Reef Foundation to help save Florida's threatened reefs.
We're actually going to plant this coral on a coral reef. Pretty cool stuff.
When How to Do Florida returns.
Hey, today on the show, we're going to show you how to do coral reef restoration.
Just beyond the shoreline of the Florida Keys lies one of the most spectacular and diverse ecosystems on the planet. Surrounding the chain of islands is a semi-continuous series of offshore bank reefs forming the third largest barrier reef system in the world. These underwater forests teem with life, movement, and color.
You know, the number one attraction here in the Florida Keys are its reefs. In fact, no other reef system in the world has more visitors, viewers, and watchers than the Florida Keys reef system.
However, climate change, pollution, as well as boat and ship groundings continue to threaten coral reef systems around the world. But thanks to the tireless dedication of the Coral Restoration Foundation, coral is now being farmed and transplanted to suffering reefs. This groundbreaking program was developed right here in our Florida Keys. We're driving across the famous overseas highway on our way to Key Largo, located about an hour south of Miami. Before we jump in and start restoring reefs, we need to go back to class to learn how we got in this situation. Step 1, coral class. The Coral Restoration founder and our teacher for the day is Ken Niedermeyer. In 2001, Ken began developing a systematic method for growing corals in an offshore nursery. Ken, along with his eager volunteers, have revitalized reefs by planting thousands of young corals throughout the Florida Keys.
So what I've got here, I've got my main shaft here, and I've got a crosshatch support system.
We started practicing with coral pieces and Play-Doh to get the feel of how we'd be actually planting live coral underwater using a special epoxy.
So what we want to do, try to find 3 points that the coral can be, attached to.
This tripod style is the sturdiest method for securing the coral to the reef.
So we just finished the classroom portion and learned a lot. But now we get to actually do it. We're on a huge dive boat and we're going out to the coral farm to learn how to grow coral.
Step 2, farming coral. As we descended into the clear turquoise water, the coral nursery quickly came into view, covering more than an acre of the seafloor, where rows and rows of fiberglass trees swayed gently back and forth in the current. First things first, we harvested the coral we would be planting on the reef. Then we cut portions of the large coral into pieces and replanted or rehung them on the trees to begin the coral growing process all over. Amazingly, in as little as 6 to 9 months, these little ones will be ready to plant. By growing a variety of coral species, Ken is able to reproduce the biodiversity on the reefs that nature intended.
So we just came from the farming site where we plucked coral from the sea, and now we're going to the restoration site where we're actually going to plant this coral on a coral reef. Pretty cool stuff.
Step 3, planting the coral. Molasses Reef off Key Largo is spectacular. With a mix of colorful tropical fish, sponges, and corals, it's a healthy and diverse ecosystem brimming with life. But in 1984, a portion of the reef was destroyed when a freighter ran aground here. If not for transplanted coral, the future of this reef would not be as bright as it is today. It was time to put my newly learned skills to the test and become part of the hundreds of volunteers who brought portions of Molasses Reef back from devastation. Trying to work while the current pushed me around took a little getting used to, but in no time, I was a coral planting machine. If Ken hadn't told me it was planted coral, I would have never have known. I was amazed at how well established the coral looked, and the newly planted area was full of marine life. Florida gives us so much, so it was an honor to have the opportunity to give a little back to her. There are only a handful of people in Florida who are taking bold strides to impact our priceless natural resources. And I can say without a doubt, I got to hang out with one today. Ken, you're a Florida hero. Arr! And I can't wait to bring my children down here to witness the restoration of a Florida reef. Volunteering to restore a coral reef may be one of the best ways to do Florida. To learn how to be a part of the coral restoration movement, go to our website, howtodoflorida.com.
You're watching How to Do Florida. We'll be right back.
Well, that's our show. I sure hope you learned something. But more importantly, I hope you feel encouraged to get out and do Florida.
For more info on this episode, go to howtodoflorida.com, where you'll find bonus how-to videos and all of Chef Justin's yummy recipes. And be sure to check out our Do Florida page, which is our giant list of events and activities all over the Sunshine State. Yeah, you should check it out.
No.
What?
You're not supposed to be eating it.
It's good. It's salty.
So Ken thought it would be funny to dump sand in my hair down there.
It was funny. It's just him and the bait in the water now.
That's how we like it. Ben, hammy. My hammy went. Come here. My hammy. It's out.
Okay. I think that's our state flower. It smells good. Smell it. Come on, bite my hook.
Yeah, right there. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yes.